Do you think it's important to track every single transaction down to every single cent? Well, at least for me, I personally believe that it's important to track every single cent, and that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years. And I'm going to share with you guys today what experience I had which led me to be who I am today, where I've been tracking every transaction down to the very cent, and I know where my money goes and in what category I am spending my money in. So I hope this video will help you guys out to understand the importance of actually tracking your finances. So I started tracking my finance when I was going to complete my university, somewhere around the third year, when I realized that, oh, actually when I graduate, I have about $37,000 to $38,000 of loan to pay off. And how am I going to do that with my first job? And I'm going to start off with a debt as compared to my peers who are starting off with just $0 and their income or their wealth is going to grow, whereas I'm starting from a negative number. So this made me realize that I need to be a bit more aware of where the money is going, whatever that comes in, how much is being spent on the different categories. So this was one of the reasons that made me track my finances. I will link you guys to the video that I did previously on strategy that I used, which helped me to completely pay off my $37,800 in 2 years. So how I made that happen is because of the way I have been tracking my finances. The tools that I have used have actually evolved over time. How I'm tracking it right now is not how I used to track 10 years ago. But the thing that has remained consistent is I track every single transaction down to the cent, and I categorize my transactions to different categories. So even my categories has evolved over time because of how my life has changed from single to married to having a kid. Then my categories also changed along the way. Why I think it's actually important to track your finances, firstly, is to make sure that there are no fraudulent transactions. I mean, you should all know that right now the scam cases are so high. Some of them wouldn't actually transact out a huge amount of money from your bank account. They can start doing it slowly, 20 cents, 30 cents, or maybe a dollar 50, and you might not realize it because there's no significant drop in your bank balance. But this is something that they are doing to test and see, and then they can actually in any particular day they can just decide to wipe out your bank account or take a large sum of money. So to prevent that from happening, I think it's very important to see your transactions, not just for scammers, but also sometimes there's certain purchases that you make, you pay a certain amount of money, but what is being transacted might be different from what you thought you're paying. Secondly, it's also because I experienced this where I applied for quite a number of platforms where I just wanted to use their product for the trial period. And some of these platforms or products that you want to use, they will ask you to key in your credit card details. It will actually auto renew to subscribe to that particular platform. So that happened to me for a few of the things that I subscribed to. I'm supposed to only enjoy the trial period, and when it ended, it automatically charged the amount to my card. But the transaction has already gone through. So the only thing I could do is just to cancel the subscription and make sure that this thing doesn't happen again for the subsequent months. So on the bright side, I'm happy that I at least spotted this thing, means I only had to pay that one subscription one time, versus if I'm not being aware, then every month this subscription will be ongoing and I'll be just paying for something that I'm not even using. So that's another reason why tracking your finance is actually really important. So how I'm tracking my finance right now, I am using this app called Money Manager. It's MGR, I assume it's Manager. I use this app to track my finances and I do it on a daily basis. What I used to do in the past was I will write down or I type and send to myself how much I had spent, and then at the end of the day I am supposed to transfer the data to either Excel or even to the app. But it was a bit of a hassle every day to do this thing. Sometimes you just come back home late, too tired, you don't really feel like doing this expense tracking, then sometimes you can just snowball. The feeling might just continue and you do not want to track your expenses, and then if you want to look back and see like 3 days ago what did I spend on, it's going to be very difficult to remember and recall how much you actually ended up spending. So that's the reason why I stopped doing that method. But the other thing that I found out is that has helped me a lot is to spend money using cards and bank transactions rather than cash, because even in during the day, at the end of the day, when I want to think back and see what transactions I have made for the day, sometimes it's very easy to forget how much you paid for certain things. So I prefer making online transactions because I can just check my bank apps to see how much I actually spent for what category. So once I get these details, I will just put it into the app. Before the month starts, I would have already keyed in the budget, so I can easily track to see how much I've been spending every single month and whether I'm within or I've exceeded the budget. So by doing this daily tracking, firstly, I am being aware of how much I'm spending for the different categories. Then if I need to reallocate the budget for the different categories, I would do that. Or I will just be a bit more conscious of where I'm spending and try not to exceed my budget that I have set for the different categories. Okay, so if you're a beginner, I know this might be a bit overwhelming to be able to track to the cent or to keep typing in all these transactions into the app. Some of the tips that I have for beginners, if you're just starting on tracking your finance, I think the first thing, you need to be aware of how much you are spending. You don't really need to write it down anywhere. I think you just need to be conscious when you spend certain amount. Try to make it online transactions as much as possible so that it's easier to track these expenses just by looking through your bank statements rather than trying to recall how much cash you paid. So these are my two big tips for beginners if you are starting to try and track your expenses. If you find this video helpful, do like and comment below if you have any other tips for beginners, or if you have any other different methods that you're tracking your money. I'll be more than happy to learn as well, because I'm also looking at different ways, always trying to improve and get better at tracking my finances. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye bye.